Hello, thank you for joining me. Good day, good evening, good morning, good night, whenever you are seeing this. Feels good to be back. Finally feeling a whole lot better after being sick for the past couple of weeks. So, what better way to kick it off than to go on the biggest size pad of watercolor paper I've got and create a painting. On this size of paper, I'm going right in with my large 1-inch oval brush. Get a wash all over the page. Get some reds, some blues, some yellows. I like all the colors, so we're gonna get all of the colors down. No discrimination here. Maybe lacking a bit of blue right now, but that'll be corrected shortly, I'm sure. Still getting some more of the warmth in. But yeah, getting things chugging along. This is a bit of a longer video than the last few, of course. This painting, I think the whole process is more like a hour-ish versus the shorts that I released in the past month. Those were more like 10-15 minute paintings sped up into like about a 2-minute minute of enjoyment. So this one's definitely got a lot more going on, but obviously still sped up for our enjoyment. We got a smaller brush now. This is an angled brush, something that makes a pretty wide variety of strokes, so it's quite an expressive brush. I can choose based on just how much force I put into the paper, how much pigment and how much water I want to put down, how wide of a mark I want to make. Not every mark should be the same. In fact, something like this I feel like is super expressive. You can see on the right side that juicy line of blue, and then fiddling around with it, knocking a whole bunch of paint around, but you can see much thinner sleek lines, and some looking more like traditional brush strokes, thick to thin, thin to thick. Now I'm coming back with that blue I mentioned before, whipping it everywhere on the page. I feel like it's still very early in the painting, so I'm not overly committed to any one area or thing. I'm always open to change things up, but even then, knowing how the final vision turns out, that area on the right with the darker sort of red and blue is so saturated with pigment that you could always almost say that it's that's the point of finish, and then the rest is working towards that now. It's unbalanced. I'm trying to reach a point where more of it feels like that, but that's gonna take a bit of time, a bit of pigment, a bit of water. You know the deal. That's just what we're doing. Mix the blue with a bit of yellow, make some green, mix it around, find some colors, go in some circles. Wow. Big energy at this point. I think I was absorbing I was trying to express how some of the music was making me feel that I was listening to. You know, I feel like I talked about this recently, but anytime I'm like painting and listening to music, I definitely feel like I'm affected by the music into the painting, because I don't know, I tend to move a little bit anytime I'm listening to music, try to groove, try to not necessarily dance when I'm painting, but maybe I'll sway back and forth a little bit if I'm really into a song. And I feel like the beat was dropping at that point, and so I got really into some marks getting all the way across the page. It takes a bit more effort to get across the page like that. I am trying to be a bit I don't know if responsible is the word for it, but I'm trying to be at least a bit more careful with how I'm holding the brush, so that I'm not hitting the painting with my hands. Always trying to hover, and so it does get a little bit easier, I guess, in that regard, to make a mark across the page, but at the same time I don't have any kind of support. I'm just waving my hand across, waving my arm across in that case, hoping for the best. Need to practice those longer strokes more. I guess work on larger paper in general. I feel like it's been a little while since I've worked on something larger than this. This is like 14 inches is the longest side on this piece of paper here. I would like to work on something larger, but it's always an issue of space and cost, since, I mean, working larger does cost more in terms of supply, and the space that it takes up is always hard to figure out. Got a lot of things on the drafting table right now, but I could clear it up and put a large piece of paper on and see what happens. I would have to make some changes though if I want to make a large painting on like an oil or acrylic. I do plan to get back into that, hopefully sooner rather than later, but the time will come for that. You will see the setup when that time comes, and then maybe we'll be working back on something larger than a couple feet, more like the largest canvas I've ever painted on was 10 foot tall. I don't think that would fit in anywhere where I'm living right now, but it would be cool. It would be cool to find a way to make a 10-foot painting. Oh no, that sounds exciting. Future plans, but yeah, I think at the very least something like a 3 foot by 4 foot, that kind of larger size is a good starting point. I feel like a big goal of mine is to actually make some paintings in the human size range, because I feel like I have a good kind of work on. I have a good kind of sense of what I'm doing on the smaller page, but sometimes I get a little lost translating it to a larger surface. So it would be nice to get back into practice on it. I feel like there's something more intimate about these smaller paintings, but something more, I guess, monumental and deep in those larger paintings that I've got. Back to this painting though, we got a whole lot going on. I've thrown paint just about every square inch of this canvas, this paper. I'm trying to touch up that corner, make some of the edges make a bit more sense. I've got these lines that I'm setting up across the across the page, and they pop off quite well across the wash behind it, that green, a bit of yellow, but mostly green kind of wash behind it. I feel like, I don't know. I'm curious what you think actually about this part. I feel like this is sort of where this painting starts to become up for interpretation. Are these vines? Are these tentacles? Are these roots? Are these what is really going on here? To be honest, I feel like I'm inspired by nature right now. I've been going on walks recently. I feel like, honestly, it's something I've been missing for at least a couple of years now. I've not really been just adventuring as much as I used to, and that's something that I've been getting back into, and has really, I think, helped me a lot to both be healthier physically and be healthier mentally, as I have a place to sort of escape and, you know, get away from the computer and the consumption and the YouTube, as great as a platform as it is. You know, there's a lot of that is there's a point where it's just too much, just consuming too much across the day. I feel like it's great to take a break and just walk anywhere. Doesn't matter. Just break away from the phone, break away from computer, and be with life, be with nature if that's where you are. Be part of the city if that's where you are. Or maybe just, you know, exploring, I don't know, I'm thinking of like a swamp for like something that's maybe like less exciting, but also like pretty interesting. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of wildlife and unique things that you'd see there. I think like carnivorous plants and stuff like that you might only find in like a bog. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice to go on an adventure, see some things, experience things, and I think it's important for the artwork because it just gets me a little more, I guess, visual and a bit more inspired. I feel like whenever I'm walking and I think of how I would paint this if I were to translate it onto a canvas or onto a page. I'm not necessarily walking around with the sketchbook all the time, but sometimes I put that onto paper too. And I feel like those moments, like even then, like capturing something onto a photo, pulling out the phone, make an excuse to pull out the phone, but yeah, taking like a photo of something interesting, how to put that visual into a composition, what restrict that scene into the camera's field of view, the focal length, alright? But I feel like I digress now, but I feel like I'm just putting emphasis on where this painting comes from. You know, just every other day, getting like a mile or two walking in nature. I feel like I've been living a little more these past few weeks, and I've translated that into one of the most vibrant and energetic paintings that I think I've made in this whole year. I really feel like this might be my best work so far, and I appreciate you joining me for this experience. I hope it's enjoyable to watch. I hope that my commentary isn't encouraging the experience, makes it better. Sorry if you hear my bird, Romy. She's flying around upstairs, sounds like. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever put her into a video. I should sometime, because yeah, there's no helping her squawking in a video. It's not like I'm gonna put her into another room while I'm recording or anything. You know, she lives her life. I have to live with mine. Maybe I could record at like midnight, the voiceover, and then there would be. I got some ideas there. But I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to make this video as candid as possible, and for me that means doing the voiceover as close to upload as possible. So I'm doing this literally like just an hour before I'm releasing. Like I could paint this at any time, right? Video, I feel like it could come from any point. I did paint this today, but you know, I feel like when the painting doesn't matter as much as, you know, me speaking to you. I want it to be real and fresh. I appreciate you being here. I feel like I've had some really nice comments the past few weeks that have been really motivating me to continue and to push myself to, you know, produce more and make these things happen. I love doing this, and I hope that I can continue doing this for the rest of my life. Real. Yeah, some close-ups of the finish. You see all the little gradients and different colors and strokes and things, different textures. Yeah. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part is, or perhaps what your interpretation of this is. I'm always curious. Please let me know. But yeah, I feel like we're getting to that point. Appreciate you for joining me. Thank you once again for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, a lovely weekend. Subscribe if you're new here. I release a new video every Friday. I'll probably try to release some shorts as well. I keep saying that. It'll happen for yeah, take care. Peace.